الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قلنا اهبطوا منها جميعا فإما يأتينكم مني هدى فمن تبع هداي فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الأمي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. We said, descend all of you from here, and if to you comes from me guidance, then whomsoever follows my guidance shall have nothing to fear upon them, and nor will they grieve. And those whom disbelieve and belie our signs, they are the ones that are the people of the fire. They in it will reside forever. My dear respected brothers, elders, my young and honorable mothers and sisters listening, these were the verses of Surah Al Baqarah, verse number 38 and 39. And this is our third session on these verses, and inshallah hopefully we will conclude these today and move on with the next part of Surah Al Baqarah, which will initiate a different section of Surah Al Baqarah. So we could say potentially that a section will come to conclusion today, and a new section of Surah Al Baqarah will begin from tomorrow, ranging from ayah number 40 till potentially beyond ayah number 120. That will be a section of explanation of a part of Surah Al Baqarah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would want to enlighten us with. So these two verses, ayah number 38 and 39, in it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Adam alayhi salam, Hawa alayhi salam, and Shaitan and the serpent that you all must descend from the heavens, all of you. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, addressing Adam and Hawa alayhi salam, that when you are on earth, then you will have a test, and this test will be that you will have a choice to be my representative and carry out my commandments, or you'll have a choice to succumb to your desires and listen to Shaitan and become from his group. So فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى, if from myself comes to you guidance, hudan. If guidance comes to you, what is hudan? Imam Muqatil ibn Hayyan rahimahullah mentions that this is Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That if Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam or his teachings come to you, then, and Imam Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah mentions this is the Quran. That when you go to earth, if the Quran comes to you, then. And Abu al-Aliyah mentions a more broader meaning, and Allama ibn Kathir rahimahullah mentions that this is a more broader meaning, even though the first two are correct, which is if any of the prophets, messengers, or the messages from Allah come to you whilst you're on earth, you receive these. So you are approached by the messenger or the prophets, or the guidance that was given to them. So this knowledge comes to you. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَن تَبِعَ هُدَايَ. Whomsoever follows my guidance. So this is my guidance. My messengers are my guidance. The prophets I send, they are my guidance. The messages they bring, it is also my guidance. Yeah, it goes to show us that the sources of guidance are just not written or recited things, but it is also people. People are a source of guidance as well. And here Allah is mentioning about the Hudan, which is Anbiya and Rusul. The prophets and the messengers, these are a source of guidance. So people in our lives can also be a means of our guidance. People can assist us. People can help us. People can direct us. People can guide us. And the contrary to that, the opposite to that is that people can doom us. People can misguide us. People can lead us astray. So if there is Anbiya and Rusul, who are people, and their representatives who follow them, that group, if they can guide us, so that means humans have the power of assisting one another onto something good. That means that there can also be those humans that can assist you to your doom, that can destroy you, that can destroy your guidance, that can misguide you, lead you astray. So we must be careful whom we take the guidance from, whose help we take. We have to be selective. And the ahadith and the Quran, they go far beyond just whose guidance you should take, whom you should listen to. The Quran and the hadith, they say to us that before the guidance even comes to you from people, choose your friends wisely. So before they could even say a few words of advice to you, once you get to know someone, before that stage, choose your friends wisely. So avoid regular interaction with those people who can potentially say something to you or do things around you that influences you incorrectly towards the wrong path. So before they can even do that, keep them at a distance. Subhanallah. Amazing. Amazing. So it's not just about whoever looks into the Quran, studies the Quran, then this is the only way he will be guided and remain guided. No, if he studies the Quran but he has bad friends, if he studies the Quran but he plays and he mixes and he socializes and he holidays with wrong company, then the Quran is giving him one message and the people are giving him a different message. Now it's going to be a battle of which one is influencing him more. Now he's right in between. And just before we move on from this point and this lesson, first lesson of today's dars, choose your advisors very carefully. Everybody is willing to offer you free advice nowadays. Everybody is willing to offer you free advice. You know, all they have to do is this. They just have to get the arrow, put it into the bow, and let it go. Now you're hungry, you're looking for the meat, you want to hunt, you want to eat. They will say, look, I can take that reindeer down for you, I can take that sheep down for you, I can take whatever this down for you, I will shoot your arrow for you. So you entrust them with your only bow and your arrow, your only bow and arrow, and you say, okay, shoot for me. And your guidance then depends on them because you just entrust your affairs to them. So they give you advice for free, they take over. They want to take over your life. They don't care about the end result. So once they shoot the arrow out the bow, whether your single arrow hits the target or not, at the end of the day, they've got their food sorted. So they'll move on in life. The only person that's going to suffer if their advice is wrong, if their assistance is incorrect, If they're not sincere and they don't try hard enough, they don't love you, they don't have love for you, they don't wish good for you, the only person that's going to suffer after they've given you the advice is you. Because you may think, he's actually sincere, he actually tried hard, she actually cares for me. You might think like this. A woman and a man will think like this about their friends' circle. And then they will suffer. They will suffer. And those that actually are good for them, they think that they are the wrong advisors. And those that are the wrong, they take them as good advisors. So, before you befriend someone, before you let someone even come close to you to be in that space, so understand that advising you is a very personal space. So don't let everybody just come in and do it. Understand, respect yourself. Respect your channels of knowledge, because when you listen to someone, you're taking in knowledge. When you're seeing something, you're taking in knowledge. When you're touching something, you're taking knowledge. Respect the channels of knowledge, because what goes into you makes you. It makes your personality. And this, there's nothing like, oh, your personality is up to 16 years of age. After that, your personality is built. No one can ever change you. No. People become from guided to misguided in the last breaths of their life. That's how delicate the matter is. So treat your advisory space as very personal, and don't just let anybody advise you. Select your advisors carefully. Do we understand the lesson? MashaAllah, give us tawfiq. If we can just practice upon this, we've got at least one source of guidance or misguidance, because both can happen through people. At least we've got one source covered, one place protected. May Allah guide us all, and may Allah create good people in our life that can help us and assist us to be guided and stay upon guidance as well. Allah is the Hadi, Allah is the one who truly guides, but He sends people in many forms and shapes, and inspirational people. And sometimes it's our own child who's merely of age of not even being able to have a proper conversation, but they say that one thing and Allah makes that a means of guidance. When a person is a true seeker of guidance, Allah will open up for him places of guidance that he couldn't even imagine guidance could come to me through these. Yeah, many brothers, when they have children, their lives change. Now, who are children? They don't talk to you like a scientist, a mathematician, a literacy expert. They're children, 4 or 5 years old, and they ask you questions that, Abu, Papa, why don't you pray? That's it. Subhanallah. And those words from this small child, it cuts the ego into half, and this person says, you are right. I'm telling you to pray. I don't pray on my own. That's it. From today, I'm going to pray. Subhanallah, 5-year-old becomes a means of guidance for someone who is their father, their mother. Can't even say half the age now, can you? Yeah, it's their father, the mother. But when a person is sincere, Allah opens up guidance. May Allah create many avenues of guidance for us, and may Allah give us the humility to take up these avenues of guidance. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى. If from myself comes to you any form of guidance, فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ, whoever follows my guidance, فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ, he will have nothing to fear in the matters of the hereafter, وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, and he'll have nothing to grieve on the losses of what he has left behind in the world. So he will have nothing to fear of what's to come, and he'll have no regret of what he's left behind and missed out on. That means you're secured. You are a very secured individual. You have no regret on the past of your losses, because they were all worldly related. Yeah, you didn't eat this because it was haram. So that person was having this tasty burger. You left it because it was haram. But there's no regret. You didn't manage to benefit from the ladhat and the pleasures of this world. Why? Because they were beyond the border of halal. They were into haram. So I didn't benefit from these ladhat and these impermissible pleasures. But I got no regret. So they have nothing to have remorse over, And what about, okay, what's going to happen to me after I pass away? Will Allah treat me nicely? Will good angels come to me? فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. They'll have nothing to fear or be anxious about the future, and no regrets of the past. This person's living the dream. This person's soul is elevated. This person's soul is light of all burdens. This person is successful. This person is successful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in other places in the Quran as well. In Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ اهْبِطَا مِنْهَا جَمِيعًا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Adam and Hawa alayhi salam that descend both of you from here. بَعْضُكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٌ. You'll be enemies of one another. We've already explained the meaning of this in the previous verse in Surah Al Baqarah. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ مِنِّي هُدًى. Similarly, like here, if guidance from me comes to you, فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ. Whomsoever follows my guidance, فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. Then they will not be misguided and they won't be wretched. And Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu mentions about this security of the past and the future, that فَلَا يَضِلُّ means they won't be misguided, meaning in this world they won't be able to be misguided. If they follow my guidance, they won't be able to be misguided in this world. وَلَا يَشْقَى. And they're not going to be unfortunate people, meaning for what's to come in the hereafter, they're not going to be unfortunate, rather they're going to be very fortunate. Allah is going to bless them. And in Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي. Whomsoever turns away from my remembrance and this guidance, then فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. Then again the effects are in both places, the past and the future. There's effects both places. Where? فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. If he turns away from my guidance, doesn't listen to the messengers, the prophets, the messages that I've sent, he doesn't follow them when it comes to learn about these, then he's going to have a very restricted life. It's going to suffocate him. Ma'ishatan danka. It's going to have a life of suffocation. SubhanAllah, what kind of life is where you feel suffocated? Well, maybe we've experienced what that kind of life feels like, where everything is just narrowing down upon us, closing upon us, opportunities are disappearing, darkness is surrounding, we're feeling very lonely. It's like the air is just suddenly becoming less around us. We feel strangled when there's nobody even touching us. We feel lonely sometimes even when we are around our colleagues. The life just restricts itself upon the person, rizq and all types. So that's this world. That's what he's going to leave behind, the dunya. What about the hereafter, when he doesn't choose to follow the guidance? It affects both the past, what you're living today, and what you're going to see tomorrow. It affects both the dunya and the hereafter. وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And we will resurrect him on the day of judgment blind, because he turned a blind eye to the guidance that came to him. He ignored it on purpose. We will raise him actually blind on that day. Subhanallah. So when guidance comes to us in whatever shape and form, from a small 5-year-old, from our own child, or from an old uncle in the masjid who gives the adhan, wherever it comes from, don't take it personal where you become upset and it hurts your ego. Let it cut your ego apart and take the guidance in, because if you refuse to take it, then the suffering and the suffocation is of this world, and the anxiety and fears are definite for the hereafter. May Allah protect us from them. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, that they will have no grief of what they have left behind, this means that some degree of sorrow is inevitable for every human being when they depart from the pleasures of this world, except for those who have perfected and made good their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They won't miss the world. Yeah, so when a person is passing away from this world, let's say before that stage, before a person is passing away and he gets to his elderly age, then his dhawq and his interest and passion to eat, drink and see the world increases. His health doesn't allow it, but if he could eat all and try all the mitais of the shop, he will go for it. If he could try them all, he'll go for it. And in every shop he'll go, he'll want to try every single one. His health doesn't permit it now, but his desire is more intense than ever. More intense than ever. His love for dunya is even more. I want to own that building as well. I want to build another complex as well. It just is so intense. Because he's lived his entire life based around the choice of choosing to live a life in fulfillment of pleasures in this world at the cost of following the guidance and suppressing his pleasures. That's why when he comes to the end of his life, before he's even left this world, he's like, marne se pehle agar ye bhi chakh looं, wahan bhi phir looं, bas akhiri umar hai, wo bhi dekh looं, wo Taj Mahal bhi dekh looं. He just wants to go around the whole world and eat everything just before he passes away, because the thought of death makes him already miss whatever's here. So his heart is already with this world and attached in so many ways, hooked. Everything's hooking his heart. So before he's even got to the pangs of his death, he's not willing to leave this world without tasting everything, without being everywhere, without seeing everything. So what do you expect is going to happen to him, and what dhikr is going to come onto his tongue? What remembrance is going to come to his tongue? The remembrance of Allah and the hereafter as he's passing away, or the remembrance of this world when he's passing away? What's going to come onto his tongue? Because as he's leading to that point, the only thing he can think of is, how can I maximize my time here? How can I maximize my pleasure? Satisfy myself even more. So these are signs from Allah that, look, you are going in a very wrong direction. And death is not even upon you yet. So fear that moment, because you will only be able to remember what your heart is attached to and hooked to at the point of your death. So these are signs. So we should ask ourselves right now that if Allah told me that I have 1 day or 1 year to live, what would I do? What would I want from this life? Would I be the one that's desiring expanding my empire, my property, my portfolio, my bank balance, adding extra zeros to it, leaving behind more houses for my children? Where would my heart be if I had 1 year to live? If I knew 2 years, what would I do? Securing what? Would I be securing this world even more? Or would I be turning my attention entirely to securing my hereafter? So if your attention is going to go entirely to securing the hereafter, then Mubarak, then glad tidings to you. Your heart is in the right place. But if you don't know, or if the answer is no, you know what, I can't die without trying this biryani, this new shop that's open, and going to seeing this place that I've always wanted to go see, and your heart is just going round and round this world, then we have to really fear, because our heart's in the wrong place. And if the call comes today to leave this world, then Allah knows best what will the last remembrance on our tongue be. People worry about the children at the point of death as well. That, oh, you brother look after her and him look. So rather than worrying about what's to come and focusing there, they still just can't let go of the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about children and wealth, puts them in the same category. Al-mal wal-banoon zinatul hayatid dunya. Wealth and children, they are all the decor of this world. They're the glamour of this world, glitter of this world. They dazzle your eyes. You lose your mind. You lose focus. So at the point of death, this person can only think about his children and what's going to happen to them, rather than, no, I need to worry about my stages of the hereafter. Because there's only a certain point of what you can do for your hereafter. After that, you have to focus on your hereafter. There's only a certain thing you can do for your children, and how much ta'aleem and tarbiyah you can do. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was passing away. Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was in his time of khilafah. So he said to Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that, oh Abdullah, your entire life you have spent dedicated to the deen of Allah, and you have earned nothing to leave behind for your daughters that are going to survive you after you pass away. So Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan, Amirul Mu'mineen radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he's worrying about the children, and he's turning the attention of Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu towards his children. Al-malu wal-banoon zinatul hayati dunya. So of course we make effort on our children in our lives because we'll have to answer for them. But there's a cut-off point. There's a cut-off point. But we can't let go of them even at the pangs of death, and we think we're doing such a good deed. Look how much I care for the ta'aleem and tarbiyah of my children. Look, no, we are fooled. That's not the point. By caring about them at that point, your heart is still attached to the world. So Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, whose attention is being turned towards his children and their welfare, he turns his attention away from them as he's going to meet his Lord, and he says, no, there's nothing to worry about them. I have no fear, I have no worry about my daughters, because already I have given them that which will suffice for them all their needs of this world. And what did he give them? He said, I have made them punctual with the practice of reciting Surah Al Baqarah every night. So whilst I was alive, in my health, then I made the effort upon them then for their ta'aleem and tarbiyah. So I have nothing to worry about their welfare or what's going to happen to them. Nothing. My heart is not with them. I'm detached. My focus is on my Rabb. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, "Man qara'a Surah Al Baqarah fi kulli laylatin lam tusibhu faqatun abada." The person who recites Surah Al Baqarah every night, poverty can't touch him. Poverty can't touch him. So he can't come near him. He can't be afflicted with poverty if he or she is punctual with the recitation of Surah Al Baqarah every night. So here his attention is being drawn towards the children and he is pushing it away. No, at the time of death, children, money, world, nothing. Just my Rabb, His mercy, His forgiveness. May Allah make our heart like that. Yeah, but the reality is, and inshallah we're going to conclude, the reality is that our situation becomes that of a parrot. That a talking parrot, you teach it as much as you want. So you say Ali, say Ali. So whenever I come into the room, say Ali, Ali, salam alaikum, salam alaikum. So when you come into the room, the parrot says Ali, Ali, salam alaikum, salam alaikum. And it just does this. Bilal, Bilal, and he calls out like this. But the second the door of this cage is left open and the cat is ready to pounce on it, and the parrot sees that the cat is about to pounce on me, then it doesn't call out Ali, save me, or Ali, salam. It goes, choo, 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 choo. Why? Because that's its original state. That's its natural state. That is its most comfortable state. That is what it's done in the dominant part of its life. So that is what it's going to do at the end of its life. No matter what temporary things happen to it in its life, they still remain temporary. If we come to the masjid, my brothers, and our Islam and deen is limited to these four walls, and we are not the flag bearers of Islam when we step out this masjid, this is temporary, because coming 5 times a day to the masjid is how many hours of our day? How much percentage of our day? 10%? And 90% we are not remembering Allah, and we are violating His rights and disobeying Him and living a life contrary to our salah. And then we expect, just because I used to come 5 times to the masjid, Allah will save me when I'm passing away, when 90% of your day, which now means 90% of your life, has been lived differently. And for 10% we are willing to think and be confident that my death will come upon Iman and the remembrance of the hereafter and Allah. So we are fooling ourselves. We are fooling ourselves. How does the outside life change? By changing this life inside salah. And how does the life inside salah change? by changing the life outside salah. So what does that mean? Where do you have to make a change? Where do you have to make the change? You have to make the change in both places. You have to focus on the quality of your salah, and you have to focus on the quality of your life outside salah. Both places. Because your life outside will become sorted by sorting out your life inside salah, and your life inside salah will be sorted by controlling your life outside salah. So how do you control your thoughts in salah? Control your thoughts outside salah. How do you control your thoughts outside salah? Control your thoughts inside salah. This is the solution. Inna as-salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar wa la dhikrullahi akbar. Indeed, salah is that which should stop you from all indecency and all evil and irreputable and unrecommended things. It should stop you from all this. وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. The remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing. It wipes away the evils of the heart. And salah is what? أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي. Salah is a show of the remembrance of Allah. It's a display. So how can it be that salah is in your life and it doesn't wipe away the thoughts of your heart and your mind which are contrary to salah? How can it be it doesn't wipe it out? Of course, it has to wipe it away. That's what salah does. But if you can't control yourself in salah, then you have to control yourself outside salah to get control in salah. So it works both ways. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first give me, then the rest of you the ability to perfect our salah and perfect our life outside salah. May Allah make us from those people whom are فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, who have no regrets of what they have missed out in the world, and they are not anxious or fearful of what's going to happen to them after. Rather, they are hopeful and expecting and excited about what is to come in the hereafter. May Allah make us like that, make our lives like that, make our minds like that, make our hearts like that, make our families like that, make our friends like that. May Allah grant us good advisors in our life. May Allah grant us good company in our life, good friends in our life, good social circles in our life. May Allah make us worthy of good social circles as well. Normally we always look for the good ones. We don't understand that, we don't fit into the good circle. So we need to become and make an intention to become like that ourselves. So, because like people are attracted to like-minded people. So if we want to become good, we want to be with good, we have to also make intention to be good as well. And that's you gel in and you feel attracted. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanallahi al-azim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.